welcome back to a brand new episode of the Beach House renovation project we're doing in the far north. We are going to be completing all the little bits and bobs today, and tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. Continuously doing bits and bobs, making sure everything is perfected. Now, picking up where we left off, look, Fabiano screwed off the decking, screwing it off, but I'm going to focus on inside right here. Yeah, get in here. Going to get this all tidied up, ready to rock and roll. Double, triple check the moisture content, insulation, MDF to go on top, and then a skirting. Yeah. Alright, let's hit it. Oh, I know. It all makes up for it in like 1 week, literally. So, I'm going to move in and start doing the skirtings in the kitchen dining lounge area. And Fabian, what are you up to?
So, I'm using this spray and this brush to paint just these edges of our flashing where we did our cutting, as you saw in our previous episodes.
Yeah.
Where we did our cutting and bending.
Yeah.
Just to give it that, that final clean look.
Final touch, just like that. Hiding the silver, cleaning it up.
Avoiding the cladding.
Avoiding the cladding at all costs.
All
There's a few, when we're installing some of the boards, scratch the side of the head flashing, so just touching it up with those little bits and pieces and making sure we got a beautiful finished product, eh?
Yep.
Oh, that looks real pretty. Looks like you could go under the ocean with this thing. I think it is stainless. You could take that golfing. It's not something I'll take for granted. Right, so when I'm installing these skirting boards, we've got a few humps and bumps in the floor, just due to the fact that we've got old floor and new floor meeting each other. So what we've got to do is scribe those humps and bumps on the bottom of the skirting and plane them out in order for us to get our skirting board hard against the floor. So you can see I've been making this amazing mess here. And I've got my little hump. This is the only one in this board. And then I just get my little plane and also sort of beveling the back side of it, so hopefully that's enough. Come on in, big old. Oh yeah, it's coming. I'll just do it right in this corner over here. Gonna try and get my miter nice. And then we sort of got, there's still a small gap here, but I've got to get my board, my skirting board flush with the top of this one. So we're sort of stuck there, but then I'm tight all the way along the rest of the way. So it's a little tip to get your skirting boards nice. With our internal corners, like this one right here, we do a thing called a false miter. What we do is, that's actually, most of the cut is square, and then right at the very top we do this little false miter, what we call a false miter, and we use a coping saw to finish this point off all the way along the front face, and then we also get a nice miter at the top. So I'm just going to test for this one because I haven't got it in yet, but the camera doesn't overheat again because it's freaking next to me. So you can sort of see what happens. Nice tight. Then we get this miter at the top. Now, oh, that's gonna be freaking perfect. It's a little bit tight, but I reckon I should be able to. Hey, nice. That's what we want. So another little trick is, in a situation where the board's like 1/2 mil big, you can actually flex the skirting board like that. Creates a bit of an arc. Then all you need to do is when you pin it, just pin it in. Yeah, that's a nice little trick. The camera keeps overheating because it's next to me, but yeah. Pass me all my shit because I'm behind. I don't have my mic on, so the audio might be a little bit poo-poos, but hold that. We've been doing fiddly-faddly jobs all week, and I think it might be time for a bit of reassurance that we're able to smash today.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we plan on doing is we're going to start installing our baseboards on here. It's going to be a nice, fun, easy, quick job to do. Now, we're going to probably start, we might as well start on this side here.
Yeah, hard.
Okay, so this side, what's going on is we have the existing house, well, existing meaning the very original house that was built on this property. Then we have our extension that was here, that was added on about 20 years ago, and then of course what we did in the last couple of months on the other side. You can see that the piles step in a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to whack some 4x2 blocking, 4x2 blocking on each pile. And that's going to pack out our pile to keep, so our baseboards can stay in a nice straight line all the way along here and keep continuity. And we're going to do that right the way around the property. So let's rip into it. Alright, so we've got to mark out exactly where our baseboards are going to be going. Now I've used a few little different bits and pieces to calculate exactly where that needs to go. Over here we've got a bit of a retaining wall board that holds this garden in place. So I'm using that as my distance to space the baseboards out. I'm just doing over in this corner so I'll show you. So once we've got that distance, right, we need to be able to figure out how many baseboards we've got. So the distance is actually 720 mil. So if we go 720 divided by, let's just say 5, it's about 144. Yeah, so let's just say we've got 5 boards that need to go through here. My distance is 720, and I know my boards are 100 mil. So minus 500, so 220. And then I need to divide that into how many spaces I'm going to need. So I'm going to need one at the top, one at the bottom, and then one between each one. So there's going to be 6 spaces, so divide that by 6. So I got 36.66. Then, in order for me to get my calculation of evenly space them out, I just go my 720 minus, let's just go 37 equals 693. So I got 693. You want to minus the space that you're using on all of these boards, if that makes sense. And then we'll just divide that by 5, which equals 138. So that's our spacings that we need. But I have another little issue. If I just butt in between my cladding and go 138 all the way down, that's going to give me to the underneath side of my baseboard. I want to be on the top side of that. So if I go 138 times 4, gives me 554, but I want to add my space on top of that. So plus 37 equals 591. So if I go 591 from there, that way I know that's the top side of my board, and then I can actually do my spacings back this way, if that makes sense. I know it's a little bit complicated, but it works out pretty well. So now I've got the top of my board. When I chalk line, it's going to be easier for me to fix. So now I can hook over that and just do my measurements that are necessary. Oh, you're pretty sexy, eh, Fabian? Sweet, bro. That's us. Hey, every time. When's he gonna man up and hold the big end? He's not used to holding such a big piece. When's he gonna man up? The bloody heck! So we're gonna start with this section through here. We've got a whole bunch of new boards that we want to use up first. Along this side here, this is where people are walking, and we want to have the new stuff here. And then once we've used it all up, we'll start focusing on the other side where it's not so the traffic. Alright, we're going to start in this position right here. We're going to start using all our new boards in this area along this side. The reason being is this is the high traffic area, and then we've got all these old existing ones which we'll use on the other side of the building where there's not so many people walking by. So let's just start through here. We're going to start on this wall, and we're just going to stagger our joints. Boom, boom, boom. So we'll get a measurement first, and then just start firing them in there. What do you reckon? So I've already got one measurement there. It's 5, 3, 25,
and you take my hand and let me get close to your heart. Why don't you show me how it
Okay, so we did our first wall of baseboards. We came to the realization that we need to get black paint in on our bearer through there. It's going to be very difficult to get that in once we've got all our baseboards on and stuff like that, and paint all these and down the sides of the posts. So we've just gone through and actually stained the bearer, the top of this part here, and then just the sides through here, just to make it easier for us once they go in. So yeah, another little thing, I've just put my screwed off-cutter board on, and I've used my measuring tape to measure from here to the center of each one of our piles for our baseboard lengths, and that's just going to give me 40. That's going to give me to the long point of my measurement, just to make it a little bit easier instead of adding that 25mm or whatever, which is fine, easy to do, but just speed the process up slightly. So
I want you to know that I'll always be by your side. It's not something I'll take for granted, but I sure hope you want me in your life, 'cause I don't wanna
Alright, we're back on site this morning. I just had a day of no filming yesterday, so I'll bring you up to date. I managed to finish the baseboards along here. It was a Sunday and I just wanted to get in the zone. Built this little gate, ready to rock and roll. Fabian at the moment is just going through and giving another coat along these baseboards to tidy everything up. I also did this. We had to figure out a way of connecting the pergola to the wall here because there was so much lateral movement happening. It's like the whole thing moves, and they have these little hammocks that hang up through here. They swing in it during the summer, so we managed to pretty much what I did is I found the nog line all the way through, and I connected, put my EPDM washer, 12mm packer, built this frame pretty much in one. I put some of those spack screws running through back through this way, and then I connected with some spack screws through the cladding through this way into the nogs, and then I've also used some spack screws to throw through here. So that is completely solid now. Same on this one. Had to do a bit of a check out because we've got our thing through there, so that will just sit in nicely. Then I also went through and I did some siliconing in and around the baseboards. Sorry, not the baseboards, the kickboards in the kitchen. Even though we leveled that floor out as best we could, there's still a little bit of Humpty Dumpty, and of course the straight cabinetry picks all that up, so we just seal it all around there. Looks really good. But this morning I need to tie these two sides in, and we want to go for more of a minimalistic look, so I'll show you what I'm going to do there. But our plan of attack with this is we're actually going to clad it with some of the cladding in and around like this, and hopefully that sort of just ties in and it just makes it look like a bit of a pillar, and it almost frames in the front entry. But yeah, let's rip into trying to fix this to the building very minimalistically. Oh yeah, and look at this. Stropped it out. All these posts were slightly out of plumb going that way, so I had to strop it, pull it over. Oh yeah, you know what it's like when you work for weeks on end. It starts to get a little bit blurry. That's okay. We're nearly there. A couple of days to go. Alright, this is how we're going to be fixing the post to the wall. With a big ass coach screw going all the way through like that. So what we need to do first is we need to find out the position of the coach screw, right? So I want to have the coach screw sitting up hard against the flashing, I guess you could say. Well, of course we have to put an EPDM washer in, so what we want to do, set that in place and mark the center, which I have. Then I want to come to one side of the post. I want the screw to be coming through one side of the post, is because I need to get a steel bit in through here to be able to drill a hole for the coach screw to go through. It's not going to be able to drill through itself. So if we position that, so that means we know exactly where that needs to go. So sideways and down. That's pretty much going to be the entry point for my coach screw. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here, and then should be able to drill all the way through. Completely perfect, but we just got it there. And then we want to be able to through like that, pilot hole, and then I've got a 12.5 to drill through this. Oh. So the way we're going to keep this real minimalistic is I've created this little block system. This little block with a chamfer and our EPDM washer that goes against the building. And then I've got a tube that the coach screw is going to go through. It's like that. Drilled some drainage holes in it. So I've also sealed inside here and over there. And I'm hoping this works. I think I'm just going to have to take a little bit more. Still need to go over, eh? I think I cut it a bigger packer. Yeah, just flip the clamp backwards to push that out. Now, wow, see that? That looks pretty good. Minimal, beautiful. It does look pretty naff with a big block like that. The reason I went with a thicker one is because over time that could potentially have time to split and crack. So I went for something a little bit bigger. Next little task is to modify this to fit in there. We also need to do the little wing walls there, but we'll focus on the big one first, and then Bob's your auntie. Right, before I go bloody pulling this damn thing apart, what I want to do is I want to measure the, got the exact size of the opening that I need. So I'm going to transfer that onto this point right here. So what I want to do is I want to try and keep everything centered. So that means I'm going to have to cut both sides down equally. So find the center first. Then what we're going to do is we're going to divide our space, divide our opening by 2, and then from that center point mark each side, and that way we've got exactly the outside of our new frame. I think that is all the screens and the pergola pretty much finished besides these. Hell yeah, baby! Woohoo! Top caps on, screens in. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Alright, morning team. We're back on site this morning, and we're going to focus on cladding this wing wall. You can see I've already got it prepped, ready to rock and roll. Sorry for being a little bit slack with the filming. We've just had all these little bits and pieces jobs and it's hard to film and we need to get it done and blah blah blah. You know the story. Of course, still got to run the business too, so that's cool. Let's just focus on cladding this wall. So I've this little wing wall. So we've had to come up with a couple of different solutions than the rest of the cladding system. The reason being is on our external corners they have a prefabricated corner where we don't really have one of those. So what I've done is I've just mitered the base channel nice and tight, and hopefully it sort of holds itself together while we do our thing. Same with our termination detail. Normally the corner flashing will be running up into the feet line, but we don't have that. We're just sort of creating a wing wall here. So again, just mitered it, hoping that they'll hold together nicely. So you can sort of see just that, and also like that. But luckily we've got enough external corner flashings to sort of finish this off. So I've prepped them ready to go. Again, a little bit different. I've just checked out slightly around here in order for us to sort of just get nice fixings, I guess you could say, like fixing point through here. So just gonna just stick it up. What I'm doing is I'm double checking for parallel between these two external corners as I move my way up. If there was any inconsistencies in this, it's going to be really easy to pick up when we go to put the male piece over the top. Start the cladding off. We've just got these little starter clips, and I'm using a laser to sort of line these up and get them perfect, and hopefully that should mean we get a perfectly straight board. Alright, so when I'm putting my first board on, I've got the 70-30 here. I mean 71-30. What's happening is you can see as I'm clipping it in like this, it's hitting on the bracket. And we want this groove to be flush with the timber, so I need to pull these off, snap this part and move that back. Yeah. And the next steps are pretty much the same as everywhere else. Packers, foam, pre-drill, corner flashing, and termination cap flashing.
Why don't you show me how it feels when the dream comes true? I won't cheat.
2, 1. Ah, stoked. Push. Stay in it. Stay in it. Well, I don't remember the last time I worked this hard, actually, eh?
Heart, yeah, my heart, oh my heart.
Woo-hoo-hoo! And that is pretty much it, guys. Holy shit, you just seen us do a massive cleanup. You see the trailer loaded up to bloody maximum capacity. The Wolf Builder Special, that is. You can see that we finished this little column off, or nib wall. Actually came out pretty nice. To be honest with you, I was a little bit funny about it. Wow, you know, I just didn't know what it was going to look like, but it looks really good. Now we've got a really strong, structurally strong pergola without it moving around, and people can swing on their little hammock. But hey, I hope you guys enjoyed. I look like a bloody bum because I've been up here for about 13 weeks straight and haven't had one shower. So that's what the north does to you, eh? You start waving like this and you start saying cuz. But anyway, we got one more trip back up here to finish off a bunch of small bits and pieces. I've got to do a flashing that sits up underneath the pergola and goes into the spouting to stop any extra water coming through. I've got to do some barge flashings. I've got to finish that side off because we don't have enough corners. Lots of little bits and pieces, but what an epic job, eh? Far out. Last day Fabian's going to be up here. I'll come up at some point once we've ordered the right materials that we need, but for the time being, deuces! Epic little walkthrough on the final episode, and maybe we even get to talk to the clients and see what their thoughts are, eh? Look at all this rubbish you left behind, G. Oh, see me drop.
To the beach!